girls! Today we're going to look at some examples of maths questions that are provided in the PDF on DayMath. So I'm going to go through an example of each of the questions and I'm going to show you how I work them out. Okay, so here are the questions over here. On the first above, you can see that we've got A and B. I'm going to do an example of each of these, so 4 questions in total, and then I'm going to do 2 from this page and then 1 from the rest of the pages that are in the PDF. So you can see that I have ruled up my piece of paper. I've given a title and I've put the date over here and I've ruled it down the middle. Please make sure you do this so your teacher can follow what you're doing. So first of all, we're going to look at the first question. So let's look at A, where it says take pi 3.14 in these questions. So that's what we're going to use to represent pi. Find the radii of the circles in the circumference, and the circumference is given below in different units. So you can see there's meters here, centimeters, kilometers, and we've got meters again. So we're going to have to convert these as well. The radii, remember, refers to radius. So I'm going to write that down. So for A, radii equals radius. Now, first of all, we need to remember what the formula for the circumference is. And we know for a circle, C equals 2 pi r, where we have to times pi and r together 2 times, because remember, in a circle, radius is from the very center of the circle to one side, and to make the complete diameter from one side to the other, it's 2 lots of r. So that's r there, and the total will be d, and from one side all the way around back again, that is the circumference. So we know what the formula is, which is important, so we'll refer back to that. And let's have a look at the question. So let's choose, let's choose number 8. So 8 is this one here, 12.56 centimeters, and that is for number 8. So we know that for number 8, our circumference has to be 12.56 centimeters equals the circumference. So knowing that, we need to put this into the equation that we have. So it'll be 12.56 equals 2 times pi times r. Now we know here that 2 times pi, which is 3.14, times unknown r. We need to rearrange this equation to find r. Now, rearranging can be difficult, but once you know what you're doing, it is a lot easier. It's just practice. So essentially, we need to make sure that these two move to the opposite side, the left-hand side. So remember, you have to make things balanced. So this is the left-hand side of the equation, and this is the right-hand side. Now, that's what I'm going to refer to as I'm going through this process. We are trying to find the numeral here that is unknown. So that means we have to move everything else on that side to the opposite side of the equation. So we have r just by itself. Now to do this, we need to cancel out the 2 times 3.14. Now we know this operation is times, and it's a positive numbers because we know there are no negatives. That's good. That tells us what we need to do. So knowing it's multiplication, the opposite of multiplication is division. So we need to divide to move this across to that side and cancel it out by 2 times 3.14. So 2 times 3.14 divided by 2 times 3.14, we cancel that out. And whatever we do on one side, we have to do the other. So it would be 12.56 divided by 2 times 3.14. And that is our new equation. So we can rewrite that. So therefore, always remember the therefore symbol if we are going to start a new row. And you notice that I'm moving downwards instead of across. That way I can see, I guess, your strategy to approach a question. And you're moving from step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and all the way down and so on. Okay, so we know that 12.56 divided by 2 times 3.14, and remember 3.14 means pi, equals r. And now we can figure out what r is. So I'll just grab my handy calculator over here. So we'll get that in. So it's 12.56 divided by, and I'm going to use brackets because there's multiple components in this formula. And you can see that I put brackets here. So remember BODMAS, where we have to start and do whatever's inside the brackets first. That tells the calculator to do things properly, because if I was to put this in, it may be very possible to get a different answer. Usually it's okay with very simplistic formulas like this. However, when you move into more complex things, like you will do when you look at Pythagoras, which you should be able to see next term, it will get more complicated. Okay, so you can see that I put it into the calculator using the BODMAS, and then we press enter, and that should give us the answer of 2. So we go back to our formula, and we know that R should then therefore equal 2. Now we know originally that this was in centimeters, so we need to put the centimeters in as well, because without units you won't get the full marks. So it's really important that you show you're working out. Beautiful. So that is an example of the very first question where we had to rearrange the circumference formula. I'll do a few more of these and then we'll move on. Okay, so now we're looking at area instead of circumference. So you can see here that is going to be different from circumference. So circumference is 2 pi r, and area, that formula is going to be pi r squared. So that's what we're going to use for one of these examples. I'm going to choose, let's choose number 8 again because I like the number. And we're going to use pi as 3.14 for this question. For the others below, you can use the pi on your calculator for that calculation, but we're going to use 3.14. Okay, so let's go 8. So we know for the area is going to be 153.86 millimeters squared. Now, I'm just going to rewrite the formula, A equals pi r squared, and we can use this to rearrange. Okay, now we'll keep a close look at that units later on. So pi r squared, we know that we can rewrite that as 153.86 equals pi times r squared. Now, just like before, we need to get rid of, or should I say, exchange the pi symbol to the left-hand side, which is over here, and that's the right again, so we can isolate the r squared. And I'll show you how to get rid of the r squared in a moment. So with pi, we're going to have to exchange it, and to do that we need to, remove it. So whatever the opposite of multiplication here will be division, so we're going to divide by pi, and whatever we do to one side, we do the other. So therefore, it will be the area divided by pi equals the radius squared. So let's rewrite that again. I'm just showing